Hello and welcome to this episode of the Reset Podcast. I'm your host, Laura Munoz. This is part of my 29 Days of Magic series where I interview an amazing Black woman every single day for Black History Month. And today I am super excited to have Rachel Young, who's a senior director and executive producer of large-scale events all around the world, on the podcast today. She has an amazing story. Take a listen. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, how are you?
Good, just interviewing folks on a daily basis. Good stuff.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. So first question, always the same, answers, always amazing. Yours, I think, will be no different. So, Rachel, what was your first job?
Okay. My first job, I was 15 years old, and I, believe it or not, was bagging groceries at Cash and Carry grocery store in Clearwater, Florida. Of course, then I eventually worked my way up to cashier because that was the goal. With that role, I feel like that's where the foundation began, and where I learned a lot about engaging with the diverse group of people every day. So, yeah, I was 15, bagging groceries. Imagine that.
Good stuff. I like it. Yeah, working your way up to cashier, and having to deal with people, figuring out the whole 9 yards. Okay, so we go from the amazing way of starting out your career as a cashier, to work your way up to where you are now. So what's that journey been like?
Ooh, my journey is unorthodox, to say the least. After that first job, I actually decided at 17 to pursue my love for music and hip hop. And I actually signed with an independent record label at 17. I don't think I told you that before, but yes, that's what I did at 17. And while working on music, as any 17-year-old fashionista would want, I wanted the discount at one of my favorite stores, which at the time was The Gap, no judgment. So I applied for a temporary holiday position at The Gap and got the job, which was amazing. But I never thought that would lead me to a career in retail management and visual merchandising in the future. Yeah, I never thought that was the space I would be in, but pursuing my career in music, also not foregoing a formal higher education. I went into cosmetology. I got my license, so I have a trade license, which was good at the time because I was super busy doing both of those things. Let me see. When I worked at The Gap, I was able to develop an eye for the details and really hone my service, organization, and business skills. Fast forward, of course, several years later, life happens. I got married in my 20s. I had my beautiful son, and decided to switch careers and move into finance.
As one does from being a music artist okay, yeah, of course, because that's what happens.
You told them my story was fascinating.
I did, because I knew what it was.
I've lived many, many lives. I've been blessed with some opportunities some unexpected opportunities that, by the grace of God, I just was really, truly brave enough to just push through and move forward to the things that I knew were for me. So again, fast forward, I got married, had my son. I decided to switch careers, move into finance. And at the beginning of my finance career, I was a branch manager. Went through that aggressive training at the beginning, and literally on my 90th day, they trusted me, this young Black woman, enough to give me a pretty major branch in that region to run. And I did that for about 3.5 years. Then, of course, I'm super driven. I don't like to stay in anything too long. At least that's what I was in the past. So I moved from that branch manager position to eventually I moved into HR and education, where I became a VP business training consultant. So it was kind of a different type of journey in banking, but I wouldn't change a thing. While I was there,
they just trained you to like, I'm your 90th day, and you're like, yep, Rachel, manager. I think you're sort of underselling your awesomeness there, my darling.
It's hard for me to talk about myself. I had to write a little bit of this down because I was like, how am I going to articulate this unique journey that I've had? But yeah, I'm grateful for, one, my natural talents and abilities, but also for those people along the way, along my journey, who recognized my skills, recognized my talent, and gave me those opportunities to prove that I was the right one. So, yeah.
So after being in finance for like a decade, you then switch again.
I did switch again. I switched again. While I was in finance, I actually started my own business. I had an image consulting business because, again, never wanted to leave behind my passion for fashion, and started my own image consulting business. My ex-husband worked in the music industry, and so that allowed me a little bit of exposure to people within the industry. So I did some styling, I did wardrobing, revamping local, socialites' closets, but then also booked some gigs as assistant stylist on some pretty popular 90s hip-hop artist music videos back in the day. I'm not going to mention who. But that was a really fun part of my entrepreneurial career. So in 2008 actually, I volunteered in Miami at Miami Swim Week. Mercedes-Benz Miami Swim Week. And there was a company there called LDJ Productions. I was just a volunteer, really didn't know a lot other than the research that I had done about events production. But this, had production and then my passion for fashion all rolled into one. I thought, hell, why not? Let me go, let me experience this and see if this is something that I might be able to do in the future. So, lo and behold, 38 years old, I decide to intern with this company that I met in Miami. I interned at Bryant Park, at the old venue called the Promenade. I was the oldest damn intern on this team, but I wanted to find out, was this truly something that I could do? And was it something that I wanted to invest my very precious and limited time in? And lo and behold, I moved forward with it. In 2012, the CEO told me, if you move to New York, you will have work. And so I trusted that, and I moved here to Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn. And pursued my career in production and have moved up through the ranks, and now I'm on the leadership team for LDJ Productions, running the fashion leg of the company, as well as I'm an executive producer and a senior director, managing many different large-scale corporate events globally. I'm also on their board of directors for the philanthropy leg, the Paper Fig Foundation, where I mentor designers and young entrepreneurs in Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, and Rwanda. So, yeah, I've come a long way and have used my skills from my first job all the way up till now. And I feel like I'm able to lead with confidence and compassion because of my diverse work history.
Amazing. So you've had 15 careers, and you're 25. So, yeah, of course. I love this, and I love because I would love for you to sort of talk about the fact that you literally I will do a free internship because I want to learn about this business.
No, and that's what it takes sometimes. I think that it's funny. My son, who is 26, I tell him all the time that, if there's something that you're passionate about, sometimes you just have to go for it. sometimes you just have to allow, yourself, to be fearless within it and just go for it. And that's what I did. I kept my full-time job. I actually still had my business on the side. So obviously I don't like to be idle.
Nope. We have determined that already.
Full-time entrepreneur, or business, and then also wanted to really know if this was something that I was passionate about, or something that I could be passionate about. And it absolutely has been. I have no regrets. I absolutely, you have to, when you're in events production, you have to love what you do, or either you're insane. It's one. It is one of the two. You know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what do you mean? No. I always say that, like, my fellow event people are my favorite people because we are all masochists. Because only masochists actually enjoy the suffering and the insanity. Because normal people are like, you want me to do what now? And I have one chance to get it perfect and nothing can go wrong. And if it does, people will never know because I'm going to fix it in real time. Yep. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Most people don't want that.
I mean, it definitely is a God-given gift. Those of us who are in the sisterhood and brotherhood of production, it is a gift. It really, truly is. And I'm grateful that I was given the gift because I mean, even as when I get knocked down through, pre-production and then actual execution after it, I can't wait to do it again.
Yes, masochist. You like the suffering. It's a thing. I'm right there with you. I don't know what it is. But it's a special set of skills. And so, it's one of the things I'm really happy about, for this year's 29 Days. I've gotten to interview a number of different awesome Black women who are in the space because we're all the same.
Beautiful thing. I love hearing about the other women of color in this space. I feel like we make a very special impact. And so I'm happy to hear that you are interviewing others who do what we do. So thank you.
Of course. Well, I think it's because I think everyone has had a multifaceted way to get here. The thing about, it's funny, I think you're now my third person from the events business that I've talked to who I didn't know beforehand, because it's also the great part about 29 Days. Mm-hmm. And like everyone has come from a very windy path to be in this industry. Like no one's like, well, I went to school for event management and then I took the course and got the degree and then like no, it's like I did 18 different things before I got here, right, which makes me really good at the job. And I think that's really an important thing to show to folks that, like, yes, what we do is very specialized and very unique, but skills that you pick up along the way actually make you well suited for this type of career.
For sure. I don't think I would be as detail oriented if I didn't have those very diverse work backgrounds, to support or as my foundation to move into this career. I don't think I would have known how to interact with a diverse group of people without those past interactions. I mean, of course, my family history has a lot to do with it. My parents, I'm an Army brat, so I've lived all over the world. I was born in Japan. I've lived in Germany. So I know what it looks like to show up in different types of rooms. But I think for sure my diverse career experience or diverse work experience has helped me to excel in the position I'm in today.
Awesome. And so very true. So obviously you probably had whole heaps of challenges where you're like, I'm never going to figure this out. And then you did. How about you share one of those experiences?
Oh, wow. Ooh, that's a good one. Well, okay. Can I talk about maybe the lessons I've learned? So, some of the lessons I've learned along the way is don't hesitate. When opportunities have come my way, especially I've got very strong intuition. And if my intuition says Ray, that's for you. Or Rachel, that's for you. My friends call me Ray. I need to just ignore that self-doubt, ignore that imposter syndrome, and just go for it. I think through some of my challenges, that's what I've fallen back on, is really truly don't hesitate. Trust my gut and just go for it. Continue to go for it. I think that what allowed me to switch careers, twice, and then also switch careers in my 40s. Who does that? Nobody does that. Nobody moves to New York in their 40s and totally switches their career. That is just unheard of, at least in my circles. So yeah, I think it's about not hesitating when I know for sure that it's for me.
I love that. So, looking back on all the insane stuff I'm sure you've had to see, what do you think you tell 18-year-old Rachel?
Oh boy, 18-year-old Rachel, I would tell her that life is unpredictable. Stay focused, and when that doubt creeps in, because it's going to happen, allow your strong intuition to guide you. That's what I would tell her.
Oh, I love that one. That's great. So it's interesting to me because obviously you've done all kinds of events and productions all around the world. What's the one thing you think is the universal truth about doing events?
Expect the unexpected and be ready to change and to be fluid and just to move through whatever's happening. I've been dubbed the calm in the storm. That's a heavy title to, live up. Heavy crown. I've also, some of my AV companies that I work with, well, one of them in particular, Proxy, the techs, they call me Unflappable Ray, which is wow. When they initially said that that's my nickname is Unflappable Ray, I think that what that comes from is, as a good leader, I recognize that my behavior, that my stance, that my attitude is going to dictate everyone else's. And I think that in live events, because you only have that one time to get it right, that's one thing that I stand firm on, is taking a deep breath and then moving through whatever challenges or obstacles are in front of us, in order to, surprise and delight my client at every corner. So yeah, that's it. Being calm, being unflappable.
It's true. I think it's also the poker face, because they'll never know what's going on. Like, yes, the event's being held together with glue and prayer, but you're never going to know that.
Glue, staples, prayer.
That's it. One time I think I said, "Oh yeah, this event's being held together with hopes and dreams."
Yeah, that's a good one. That's definitely a good one. Yeah, events are not for the faint of heart. I think there's a lot of people who step into this industry who think it's this incredibly glamorous job, career to have. And yes, there are we have perks, we have moments, we have access, but it's not without getting our hands dirty, really digging in and getting it done. I've done every role, from picking up garbage to all the things. We have to. It is what it is. It's production, and I just truly believe if my name's on it at the end of the day, it's got to be a certain way, and if that means I have to, fluff the pillows before we say doors, or pick up a painter's tape off the floor that's been left down when we've spiked something, then I'm doing it. I'm not leaving that to my PA. It's part of my job. So
it's so true. It's also, it's like built into our brain.
Mm-hmm.
Because we cannot let it fail. We just
No.
really cannot. Like, I don't know what happens to us when we become event people, but like there's a switch that goes on. Like, yeah, there's nothing I won't do to make it. It's not perfect.
Oh, right.
I was saying to someone the other day that like, yeah, I was recently the door bitch for an event. Okay, fine.
The door bitch. That's a new one.
And cause, you know, it's something I'm quite good at. I haven't done it in like a decade, but it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Like, listen, sometimes you need a loud black woman at a door to tell people to move back
I love it.
and wait
I love
to
it.
get in.
I
Like,
love it. It's funny. I've had to do that. I want to say I did that last year at South by at
yep.
the VIP door, and even security was like, "You're like 5'3", and you're regulating on these people." I'm like, listen. Sometimes it just has to be done.
It has to be done. Because like, you have security there, and they're just making the security people's lives miserable. And you're like, what part of wait don't you comprehend?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, also, it ain't cold out here, so please calm down. Please,
Exactly.
really, please calm down. I've learned apparently like some influencers apparently don't like to wait outside for more than 2 seconds before they like start losing their minds. So I'm like, I do not care.
I plead the fifth on all of that.
Oh my God.
Of course, I've been only doing experiential influencer events lately, so I plead the fifth.
It's like, I mean, I love them all. They're wonderful. I'm so glad for their posting, that we're paying for. But at the same token, I think but there is something really special and unique about the community of us that are in this industry that, I think we make it look easy, which also sometimes gives people the impression that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not.
No, not at all. There's a lot of sleepless nights. There's a lot of magic happening behind the fourth wall. There's a lot happening that people don't realize, that goes into, for instance, a 12-minute fashion show. I mean, months of planning for 12 minutes that you cannot get wrong. That's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, and we thrive in that. I mean, listen, I have been backstage at enough fashion shows to know exactly the exact amount of spray tan to put on the model, so she'll will not like screw her up. The fact that I know this,
that is a special skill.
Like,
wow.
Yeah, the things we have done. But it's funny because like I think like I said, it's been such a joy finding more of us in this space throughout this year's 29 days. And one of the most important things about the job that we have is that yes, we have an insane job, but it's also really important for us to take care of ourselves. And I think I'm sure you've probably been a victim of this too. When we first started, we're like, we're going to do every last thing and make it all happen. And I think now that we've kind of come through COVID, I think we've all kind of learned the importance of taking care of ourselves. So, Rachel, what do you do for your self-care?
Yes. Okay, let me start with saying I could do better. Ray, you could do better.
We love you, honestly.
I'm being honest with myself. I could do better. But one thing that I do is I believe in and I practice daily meditation. Notice I said practice because I still, after 15 years, have not perfected it. But daily meditation, and actually moments of silence throughout my day keep me grounded. They really do keep me grounded. In those moments of silence, I practice breathing exercises to keep me from wanting to slap a, let me stop.
Well, hey, understood.
You know what I'm saying.
No, really?
Yeah, those moments of silence and breathing exercises really do help me to stay grounded and focused on the goal and not, take things too personal. I think now that I am in my 50s, I'm pretty, I have no filter sometimes. And so those daily meditations help with that. And then like I said, the moments of silence help me to stay focused, help me to breathe through some of the situations and come back even stronger and, probably a little bit more driven than I was before I take those moments. It's been nice to work from home these past couple years, because I'm able to take those a little bit more frequently in between the Zoom calls and even in between the on-sites. So I've really, made more of a routine than just something that happens occasionally. I do love to travel. I love to, hang out with my amazing tribe of Black women who are doing the damn thing. I love live music. I love a spa day. I actually braid my own hair, which is cathartic and it's relaxing. I absolutely love it. So yeah, that's what I do for self-care.
Love it. I love a good spa day. I'm just coming off a wonderful spa day yesterday, and I was like, yeah, I have to keep remembering to do this every single month.
Yes, not just for your birthday. Happy birthday!
Thanks so much. No, I've been good. I have been good this year. I did it in January. I did it for my birthday, obviously. And, I'm gonna I feel like I'm just gonna have to make it the recurring third Sunday or something in my calendar to go. So that I have that day. It's refreshing and restorative. Yeah, I have tried to do meditation and I fail and I pick it up again. And it's an ongoing cycle for me. I haven't been able to be consistent with it. And I know that it definitely would help.
Yes. Well, that's why they call it a practice. And I think once I embrace that it is a practice, I don't expect perfection every single time. Some days my meditation is literally just watching the sunrise, quietly watching the sunrise. And clearing my mind of anything, from the day before. So it's not always, this whole like woo woo situation where my legs are crossed and I've got my incense burning. It's not always that. It really truly is taking a moment to be introspective and, align yourself for the day. Yeah. It's a practice.
Yes, and practice makes perfect. So I get you. I think I will pick it up again this month. Now, last question for you. Do you have a give and or an ask of the audience?
Ooh, a give or an ask. Oh, please, 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 please. And I'm sure you've heard this a lot. Give yourself some grace, please. There's so much happening in the world. There's so many things in our community that are challenging us, as they always have. And I think as as a people, but especially as Black women, the expectation is that we are strong and resilient. But quite frankly, I'm learning from my 30-something and 40-something-year-old friends that, you know what, it's okay to give yourself some grace and to really truly find a balance between the grind and a soft life. Don't feel guilty for that. You deserve it. You owe it to yourself and those who you love around you, to give that to yourself. So please, please give yourself some grace.
I absolutely agree with you. I think we really need to do that for ourselves. It's so important. And like it's just necessary. And it's been heavy. The last 3 years have been heavy. Like we're in February 2023. I think nobody, if you had told them in if you had told them in the third week of February in 2020, what would happen over the next 3 years, they would never have believed you. And so it is so much to recognize, to be grateful for, to acknowledge the hurt, to acknowledge the grieving. I mean, we've all collectively had to grieve for 3 years. No matter what any one individual circumstances, we all lost something in the last 3 years. Because how we did things, how we approach things, who we did that with, has all changed. And so we've got to be kind to ourselves and be like, you know what? I can't expect you to be at the same speed, the same this and that over that same period. Like, things have changed, and it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. And be like I said, be a little selfish. You have to. In order for us to continue to be valuable to our community, we have to be a little selfish.
Absolutely. Please do. Please go ahead and do it. It's okay. I'm going to yell at you. Never going to be yelling at you about that. It's 100% okay.
Yeah.
And I think if we don't do that for ourselves, then what are we doing? Seriously, what are we doing?
What are we doing? Yeah, you're right. You're right. I really do appreciate, I so want to ask you so many questions, but I know this is your podcast.
You can ask one. How about this? I will break my rule. For you, Ray, I will break my rule. You can ask me one.
Okay. So what do you do to find balance between your very, very hectic schedule, your passion for your podcast, and your day-to-day life? What do you do to find balance? Or
who told you I have any balance? Like, girl, what? No, I don't know. Well, here's the thing. I will say, and that's a great question. I think the thing that I have learned, especially over the last 3 years, is to give myself grace. And I didn't know that before. And I think COVID made me do that, because at the time I had my own business. It was a horrifying experience. And you wake up one morning and your entire industry closes, like, out of nowhere, through no fault of your own. Like, not like you had something that went horribly go wrong. Like, you literally woke up and, oh yeah, the entire country, the whole entire world shut down. And so the thing that you do and you spend every single waking day doing no longer is useful to anybody. It could kill somebody. And, so it forced me to, sit down and kind of think about, what does it matter? What matters to me? What do I want out of my life? And, I had some, very deep conversations with myself. I have an amazing coach, comes in really handy. I think it's very important for whether you have a coach, a therapist, both, what have you, somebody who is not a girlfriend, or boyfriend, or a dear lifelong friend, or someone who, is a great sounding board if necessary. Because I think that helped me start to, think about what matters, think about what I actually did and what I wanted to do. And so when I got this opportunity for this job, it came out of nowhere, but for me, it sort of made sense at that moment for me. And as I've gone into my job now and a little over a year since then, I think how I've been able to keep my sanity is to be like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the people who are in my life at this particular moment. And do I have every single thing I want? No, not really. But do I have an abiding faith that, like, it will come? Absolutely. And, obviously when this is coming out, it'll be right after my birthday. So, like, would I have thought at this particular age in my life that I'd have certain things? Yeah. Are they here? No. But do I also have a lot to be immensely grateful for? Absolutely. And so I can 100% give myself the grace to be like, everything else will figure itself out.
I love that.
So.
I love that. Well, congratulations on all of your accomplishments, most recent, transitions, and just what you're doing for Black women everywhere with this podcast and just our community in general. Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate that.
It's so funny. This is my first podcast. I've interviewed before, but I've never done a podcast, and you just made it so easy. So thank you.
Of course, I told you it wouldn't hurt a bit. But we must have a drink sometime soon. I think we're going to be in Miami at the same time, so let's do that. But most importantly, thank you for being part of 29 Days of Magic. As I said, it's been such a joy to find so many dope women who are in our industry and give them a chance to shout out all the great work they do. So thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, and keep being great. And I'll see you in Miami.
I'll see you in Miami. And we'll put all the details in the show notes so you can connect with Rachel. She's amazing. And that is our show.